being in love with being alive. This full moon eclipse in Virgo is helping us tap deep into the essence and cultivate really profound and necessary qualities again. So let's explore what makes this full moon so special. First of all, we have an eclipse.
Second of all, it's happening in perfect alignment with powerful aspects that we've been waiting for years.
That sounds exciting and a little bit intimidating. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling all kinds of feelings. We are going to look at what any of that could mean today, and bear with us while we are navigating these really strange fluctuations.
We can tell that since the last new moon, things have been very shaky. And that's what an eclipse is about. It just takes all of the energy that has been available to work with it and gives it a strong shake to ground whatever needs to be grounded now. And this eclipse is a really special one because it's creating geometrical patterns that are not very usual to be seen.
What are those special patterns? I'm curious to know.
We're having this eclipse in exact opposition to Saturn, the North Node, and Neptune. But all of this is happening also while in the last days Mercury and Venus were crossing through all of those energies in Pisces. But at the same time, these energies in Pisces are having a grand trine with Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus in Taurus. The three transgenerational planets are, after a long wait, now finally meeting in exact trine. It's a geometry that is going to be active for the next 4 to 5 years and that everyone is going to be feeling.
So how does that make us feel when we feel it?
It makes us feel as wanting to have control over the whole change, but it pushes us down to acknowledge that we can have control only through our personal experience. All of this is happening while Mars came back from retrograde there in Cancer. So Mars is having a trine with all of the energy in Pisces, and Mars in Cancer, it speaks about nourishment and being home, being in our household. So this is the time to put our house in order, in a very compassionate way, because it's Pisces there. To have control into our personal scope. The personal scope is infinite. Think of the 1,000 ways in which your house can be arranged, how you can decorate it, how things can be there and here to feel more harmonious. Well, it's infinite.
What will help you to hone in some of the important things within that overwhelmingly infinite space? I feel that is where Vesta comes in, because Vesta is forming a grand trine between Mars and Saturn. What Vesta represents is not only the guardian of the sacred flame, of the sacred fire, but Vesta is the sacred flame itself. It's the energy that allows you to illuminate. It's the energy that is like the burning stove of energy. It's the purpose and the passion that you feel that actually ignites you into action and into cultivating the life that you're cultivating. It's the things that you stand for, that you want to protect. It's also that sacred motor. When do you feel burned out? It's when you are not in alignment with the things that are actually nourishing you and fulfilling you. Making sure to understand what is that purpose, what is that passion, allows you to actually utilize that Marsian energy, that energy of action, of protection, of changing the home, and understanding what is needed there, what care and nourishment is needed there, means to also really understand your sacred inner flame. Not only from the perspective that you have been understanding it, but this is a phoenix transformation where you are really burning down the layers and really understanding the more subtle levels of what does your soul actually want and need.
And your personal experience. Neptune has been there in Pisces, but now, on the last days of March, is going to enter into Aries. So it's like saying these collective dreams, all of these illusions that have been holding on together and that we can tell have not been working that well in the last months. Many of them, not all of them, now are going to feel very personal. So your very personal way of connecting with your authenticity, with your sense of being connected to everyone, but in a personal, individual way.
That is why it's great that we have all of this Venus retrograding energy right now, because Venus is in Aries and we are really reflecting onto what it is we want to attract, how we want to be in relationship with ourselves. How is that individual love for life becoming the director of your relations, of your interactions? How is that also being the compass for your energetic imprint and your frequency to attract and align yourselves with those desires, to fulfill those dreams? You mentioned the conjunction to Neptune that the Sun is making. Of course, the Sun is making a conjunction to the North Node, which is why we have an eclipse. And also, it's pretty close conjunction with Saturn as well. These are all aspects that are really calling for understanding something greater, something beyond the present moment of instant gratification, of short-term fulfillment. Saturn is really about understanding the path, the road to mastery, being willing to commit yourself, being willing to also be abstinent from certain things, setting certain restrictions and limitations, because in the long run you understand how that can actually support staying on the path of growth and fulfillment in the area that you are desiring yourself to commit to, which completes that grand trine that we were just mentioning with Mars and Vesta. With all of these energies, it's really good to have clarity. What it is that you actually need, what will actually help you, what is it that is actually missing, to be real and honest about mistakes that have been made without falling into this Virgo pattern of self-judgment, criticism, perfectionism. Yeah, this is not a moment to pity ourselves for any mistakes we have made. This is a moment of understanding that everything you have been doing has had a purpose, and at any moment, but especially now, you are able to ask yourself, what is the direction I want to go in? Why do I want that? And what specifically is needed for me to get there? And how willing am I to commit myself to walking in that direction?
How are we supporting ourselves with the company that we are having? Who is walking at our side? How are we liking our relationships? How can we just change some of those commitments, those agreements that are actually feel like but a cold feel lighter, because that first relationship is with how individually we relate to those that we get to know.
So what is it that really allows us to activate that inner fire, that inner motor that allows us to do things? One aspect supporting us is this Venus in retrograde. And when we also look at the moon, the full moon in Virgo, we see a trine to Taurus, as already mentioned. I feel that the key aspect here is really understanding what makes you love life. What creates that feeling of love, not only for the things in life, but for being alive. If you think that there's nothing there and you actually don't love life, that is a great signal for you to do a really deep dive on your belief systems about what you can't do or what is missing or lacking, allowing you to understand at what point in life has your perception been influenced for you to reach that conclusion. If you already know what makes you love life, then that is a great indicator, because it is that energy that really allows you to tap into that Uranus quality of moving mountains, of earthquaking your environment so that things can actually change, so that the old structures and systems of your body, of your being, of your life, but also of our societies, that they can really be changed, be built differently, redesigned, realigned. Connecting to that sacred sense of love and purpose, I think, is the most important thing you can do right now. And so with this Virgo energy, we may have a tendency to fall into perfectionism and getting lost in the little details. One thing that I believe will help with this tendency, instead of going deeper and deeper into the details of one subject, to try and shift the dimension of how you're looking at it, trying to understand that moving to a different dimension perhaps of the same subject is actually often the missing detail. For example, if you're in a healing journey right now and you have some physical pains and aches or some emotional experiences that you're not knowing how to break through, and you keep nitpicking at the little tiny thing that you've not been getting right or that you haven't been consistent with, instead of focusing on that and falling into this pattern of this Virgo self-criticism, maybe try to find an alternate approach. For example, a different kind of movement practice, or finding a completely different healing modality to support you with that you haven't tried yet, or searching at ways in which this understanding can actually be implemented in totally different life areas. Ultimately, we can reach a much more holistic understanding of the details. In our own lives, there have been many topics that we've kind of been working through already in the last years, doing a lot of self-reflection, doing a lot of shadow work, and we have reached new insights with that for sure. But ultimately, to transcend that and fully embody the growth that we have been making intellectually and emotionally, for us, it has been a time to really embody new movements and using techniques that we're learning with the I Ching, the embodied I Ching, and certain movement practices.
Modalities that come from Eastern teachings from all around, like that big territory, that nowadays with all of this Uranus and Taurus energy are showing in a new dimension, in a more embodied, different dimension.
The exercise that we've been doing for our bodies, they have been really showing us how to work on the subtle realm, working in versus working out. So to not just build muscles or to use a lot of energy, but to actually understand how to utilize and move and stabilize that energy inside of the body to harmonize it. We've been noticing that doing these movement practices is greatly improving our foundations, our emotional and physical and mental well-being.
The moon in Virgo is in connection with Taurus there, with Uranus. Therefore, that personal way of feeling the world is finding a perfect way of embodying a movement that supports that way of feeling the world. Just be open, be curious, because all of these ways are just popping up, like sprouting from the earth, but not sprouting suddenly from something that just appeared, but from ancient sciences, from deep studies, from a whole mycelium that is holding the teachings to come to show themselves in new shapes.
Probably the moon in Virgo is also like showing a heightened interest right now in understanding the origins of a topic, layers underneath all of the influences, getting to the more pure form of knowledge. So maybe that's also why it feels so good right now.
Acknowledging that there's a way to feel good right now is super special, because if we look into the world, we can tell that it feels as if the boat was sinking. Well, then that's why we need to hold ourselves, have control into those things that gives the joy of life, so we don't get synced with the boat that is not the only boat.
I feel that with Virgo being this self-sovereign energy, the energy of the virgin, the one who is uninfluenced, so to say, that we are also allowing some more support to enter our life without a fear of losing our innocence, without a fear of being touched, of being influenced, so that we can actually allow for the sacred collaborations, that we can allow for the networks, for the weavings to happen in an organic way, because we have already established that truth, that connection with the own sovereign will, the own sovereign intention, and the clarity and the dedication and the connection to yourself. There is no fear needed, because there is only clear feeling. Allowing some of those connections, some of those collaborations, some of those networks to enter life will also support the whole unity of us working all together. Remember that studying life is one part of it, embodying life and the wisdom is a really, really key factor for integration. The approach with which you do either of those is going to craft the emotional experience while doing. To close off this reading, I would like to just give us all a beautiful message from the tarot to give us a little bit of magic sprinkles on the path. And because we're in Virgo with the moon, I have this beautiful Mother Peace tarot deck here by Karen Fogel, focused on goddess archetypes. And I'm just going to ask the cards to help us with some inspiration, a piece of insight that will help us really deepen our understanding and our embodiment of the wisdom of this time for us all, for the collective. Something to support each and every one of you in your process right now. So the card that came was the Three of Wands. This is a beautiful card. The wands represent the fire element, also the spiritual connection that we have, the solar plexus chakra, of course, and the 3 is always a number of fertilization that has happened. So something creative, something alive that is growing, that we have the opportunity to nurture it right now, to nourish it. 3 is also the number of collaborations. And with this deck specifically, we can see that these figures here are actually, it looks like they're painting. They're painting their stories, they're painting their art onto the wall. They're using the fire to create light, they're using different paints, and they are painting the animals that they see and different aspects of life. So I think this is really a message that, first of all, art can help you right now with this integration process, but also embodying your speech, embodying your word, embodying your ideas by allowing yourself to express them outwardly, giving them a canvas, be that making literal art or actually just creating, giving your life a space where you can put those things outside of your mind, outside of your body, and give them a home, a place in which your ideas can become alive. So anything that you feel you have as a wish, as an idea, something you want to execute, finding a way to actually letting that happen. And we can also really do that supported by each other's presence in community, sharing our resources, sharing our tools to enable each other to really get to do that. I feel this is a powerful card with this Vesta topic that I also touched on, and the fire. I feel that really understanding that inner fire is what is going to help light up the space so you can actually see what you're doing. So focusing on understanding that inner fire and cultivating that inner flame is going to be a key component to helping you paint your dreams on the canvas of life. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you all enjoyed this. My name is Jennifer Irene.
And my name is Federico Focha.
And we are here at the Web of Wonder. We are also available to help guide you if you are craving some support, if you want some personally guided inspiration. We are both open and available for readings at this time. I will put the links to contact us in the bio. And I also want to share about a new heart project, a Vesta project you could call it, the HEARTH of Ava, which is a sacred container, a space for ceremonial poetry and ritual arts that is just beginning to open up and emerge. I will share the link. There's some very beautiful and powerful videos that you can watch already. And if you're in the Berlin area, we are planning more workshops in the month of April. Hop onto the Telegram Web of Wonder channel to stay updated, or check out the Instagram page for when we will post the date for our next workshop. It's going to be another embodied astrology workshop, which is a really fun and interesting way to get connected with understanding the archetypes and elements beyond the intellectual perspective, accessing your own intuitive wisdom so you can apply it anywhere, anytime.
We would love to have you there to hear your interactions. So share your comments, share this video, subscribe, and we will see you.
Thank you so much. Lots of love from us to you.
Ciao.
Goodbye.